Welcome to the Baldeagle242 YouTube channel. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I like to find ways to repair and fix things on a budget. Today I have a 5x10 foot utility trailer that I purchased to replace a 5x8 foot utility trailer. In this video, I'm going to show you the best upgrades I've found to help improve these small trailers. First things first, if your trailer has the mesh or expanded metal flooring like this one, I would install 5-force treated outdoor decking lumber over this. I would then take a good solid deck stain. Solid's going to last a lot longer than a transparent deck stain or an oil-based deck stain. I find myself needing to transport small engines with crankshafts sticking out the bottom of them from time to time. If you've ever had to do this, you know it can be challenging to secure an engine like this and keep it upright so it doesn't spill oil or fuel all over your truck or trailer. To solve this problem, I just drill a couple holes in the floor of the trailer and I can securely transport just about any vertical shaft engine in seconds. Something else I like to do here is screw a couple 2x2s down to the deck, and this gives you a good stop if you're pulling a mower or a four-wheeler or something on here so you can get your trailer loaded properly. Another thing I like to do is add a few of these stake pockets. This one and the one on the other side there is from the factory, but I like to add a few extra ones on here, weld these on. You can buy bolt-ons also. This way it gives you a good spot to secure boards or other stuff here that I'll show you in just a minute. This right here, I'll show you also, that comes in real handy. What these extra stake pockets allow you to do is to take like a winch, a strap, you put your strap in here. And what I do is I weld these onto a piece of angle iron or whatever you call it. Then you can just drop this right down in one of these. And that gives you a good place to use a strap. And you can put those anywhere you want on here. The idea for these hand cranks or hand winches came from watching semi-trucks. Most of your semi-trucks, they use a 3-inch wide strap. These are 2-inch. They come 1, 2, and 3. On the 2-inch hand crank, you can use a 1-inch strap on it. Works like a ratchet. And then to release your strap, you push this down, it releases that. The other thing these stake pockets come in handy for is you can mount your spare tire. Purchase the spare tire mount, but then I just welded it to one of these pieces of steel. You can put your pin in it. The good thing about this is you can mount it anywhere on the trailer where you have a stake pocket. So if you've got an awkward load that this is in the way, you can move it somewhere else on the trailer. This trailer came with a storage box on the front, but this is something to think about if your trailer doesn't have that. Comes in real handy just for a place to store your straps and stuff. Keep a 50 caliber ammo can in here. I keep a spare hub, bearings, castle nuts. Anything that's just a rubber glove to keep the grease. I got plenty of grease in there. But that can be a lifesaver if you're ever on the side of the road, have a bearing go bad. I prefer a closed box, but this trailer already came with this one, so it is what it is. I do have some diamond plate. One of these days I may put some diamond plate over that to seal it in a little better. I do a lot of loading my trailer when it's not hooked up to a vehicle. So what I did is welded a mount on here, and then I can take a hand crank jack, pin this on here. When you're not using it, you can pin it back that way. If you need to use it, drop it down like this. Put that on there like that. But then when your ramp's down, you can drive right up on the back of this thing and it doesn't lift the tongue up. It's not hooked up to a vehicle. And I got one of these for both sides. I'll put this one in the stowaway position so you can kind of see what it looks like when it's not in use. And if you mount these on here, just make sure you leave enough room to clear your taillights and your fenders and everything when you move them up and down. The other good thing is not only will it support the trailer when you're loading it, if you're out on the road, you happen to get a flat tire, you got a built-in jack. All right, something else I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take a couple pieces of steel that I can drop down into the stake pocket. I have to offset it a little bit. Got the rail right above it, so I've got to weld 2 pieces together here, and then I'll weld a plate on top of this so that I can mount a hand crank winch to it. Probably should have showed you this before I got started, but this is just a little Harbor Freight titanium MIG 170 welder using flux core. I don't have any gas. Just a simple little welder. Here's what I got on my welds. Probably ain't gonna pass any welding tests, but good enough for what I need on an old utility trailer. All right, next thing I'm gonna do is get the plate to mount the winch on top welded on here. Gotta drill some holes in it and get it ready to go. Get this thing painted up and get it on the trailer. Should be more than enough to hold this thing on there for what I need. I'll I'll go ahead and get this thing painted and then bolt the winch on here and get this thing on the trailer. One other thing I want to show you here while we're waiting for this primer to dry, if your trailer has a wheel like this on the front of it, just take your trailer wheel. A lot of these already have a smaller hole in them. I like to drill them out a little bit bigger, but go ahead and drill that out. And then what I'll do is just take a standard hitch pin, and you can just put that through that hole, put your pin in there, and then when your trailer's sitting on a slope, it won't let that wheel roll. Anyway, hopefully that little tip with the wheel there will help you out. I know I've had issues with that on my boat trailer before. All right, go ahead and get this on here. Got a bolt, a washer, put it through the winch and the mount, another washer, and then I got a lock nut. Nut's got the little divot in there. That's a nut that'll lock it on so it doesn't come back off. Now that this is all together, hopefully it fits. Should drop right down in there. And fits just like that. Now that should fit on either side. I will drill a hole through it and put a pin in it too. I haven't done that yet because I wasn't sure where the hole needed to be, but that should fit in either side here. The only reason I didn't go in the middle here because I haven't welded a stake pocket on, but I may weld a stake pocket on there too. And I left enough room so the handle would spin no matter where I put it at. You may wonder why it's so high, but that handle has to come around. You know, get your hand around here. The way that's made, it should work at any pocket on this trailer. Another thing I like to do on these trailers, this one had a few broken marker lights, so I went ahead and replaced them with LEDs. Also add a few reflectors to it there, LED tail lights. I'm gonna go ahead and do this now, but I'm gonna add some white and red reflective tape. Here's what I came up with on the reflective tape. Just a short little strip there, strip around the sides of the tailgate, and then a little strip across the top. Side strip on the side, put 3 little strips in the middle, alternating white, red, white, red. Did the same thing on this side, and then underneath in the back. I would have liked to have put some strips straight down the side here, but the way this mesh hangs over here, tape's never gonna stick to that. On the top, that way if the tailgate's down, somebody will see it laying on the street. Anyway, should make it a lot more visible. All right, next thing I'm gonna do here is put a spring assist on the rear lift gate. I spent about $45, less than $45 on this. Believe it or not, I got these springs for $1 a piece off of Marketplace. All in all here, I got less than $50 in this. I did go with 5/16 cable. You could use 1/4 inch, but I think this was only like 12 cents more a foot, and I only needed like probably less than 10 foot. I bought 16 feet. I know that's more than I'll use. The best way I've found to cut this cable is to wrap it in electrical tape and then take a cutoff wheel on a grinder and just cut right in the middle of where you tape it. That leaves a real nice end on it and it won't fray out. Just watch your fingers and let it rip. When you cut it like that, it just leaves a real nice clean end on it. All right, now that I got this all kind of laid out here, I'll show you everything. So this will be a hole down through the frame. That'll drop down through that spring loop, be in the frame rail. And guys, if your trailer doesn't have the tube rails like this one does, you can put a piece of conduit, EMT conduit or something like that, on top of the rail, bolt it down to the rail, and then run this spring through that. I'll bolt that down through the rail on mine. Luckily, it's got the tubes on it. I wrapped this around the spring loop there. Got the cable strain relief here. Taped this up real good and locked it together here. I made these rollers. That's just copper pipe and a 3/8 bolt. Lock nut, washers. I'm still uncertain whether I'm going to put washers on the inside of the rail or not. Depends on how all this fits together. So there'll be one roller under, one roller over. The cable, didn't cut it to length yet because I'm not sure how long it needs to be. Got the clamp here and the strain relief. Went ahead and drilled this hole in here, and then this will clamp on there. And then again, just duplicate that on the other side. And then I'll cut this cable off once I see how long that needs to be. What I'm going to do is take that spring, and we'll come back behind the wheel well. There's your spring right there. I'll drill a hole right through here so I don't have to be underneath this wheel well. And I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna pull this back to where I want it. Put that right in the middle of the fender and this other brace here. And then I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna mark this cable. So that way I know exactly how far to push that spring in there. And then I'll come up here and I'll drill my hole. And what I'll do is take this spring back here. All right, I don't know if that'll show up on camera. That loop is right over that hole now. So take my bolt with a washer on it. I drilled that hole exactly 3/8, which is what this bolt is. So these holes, they don't line up perfectly, it won't go through. See if I can't give it a little persuasion here. All right, that gets us all the way through there. Let's make sure we did hook it. I think we're hooked. What I'm going to have to do here now is I'm going to cut this around here so that when this cable comes up like that, it'll be on that roller. Once I cut this off, I'll see where I'm at and then we'll go from there. All right, now that'll let that come straight up without actually rubbing on the rail itself. After looking at this again, I've decided to go a little bit different direction. Instead of welding this on here, I decided to drill a couple holes in it. I'm gonna drill some holes through here, mount this on here. What I realized is if I ever wanna fold the gate down, if these are welded on there, I won't be able to fold them down because it's gonna hit right here. But if I bolt them on, I could always take the bolts and the nuts off, take these off, and then this gate could lay flat. What I'm gonna do is take the distance from here to the top of the gate, and I'm gonna come about 2/3 of the way up. So it's not gonna be all the way at the end. You just gotta make sure you got plenty of travel on your spring if you come up real high on that gate. All right, let's see if that's any better. Yeah, a lot better. I think that's probably about half the weight on that thing. I think once I get the one on this side and just match it up the same way, that should be pretty good. All right, now we got both sides done here. Let's see what we got. Now I went ahead and cut that cable off and taped this up, got it connected to the gate. Got the rollers here, so when it's up, it's on the top roller. When it's down, it's on the bottom roller. Same thing over here, connected to the gate. Top roller here, bottom roller here. I did cut this out same way as I did on the other side. The gate will pretty much stand right where it's at. You can take a couple fingers here, and it pretty much goes right back up the way it's supposed to. I don't think you're going to get much better than that.